Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Man United Agenda. We're a bit early today, 7 o'clock. I'm joined by Dan from Red Devils TV, and we're just giving you a few updates about Manchester United Football Club and what's going on. We've got our ears to the ground. Let's go. Hi, welcome to the Man United Agenda. I'm back, and so is Dan. Dan, I ain't seen you for a long time. I remember you made your debut. We were on together, weren't you, when you made your debut on here? Long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Let's say it's been a hot minute, but yeah, thank you for having me back.
For sure. How's things going? How's your channel going now? How many subscribers have you got?
Yeah, it's going well, mate. I've just recently hit over 650 subscribers. I'm currently on 663, I think, right now. So, I've literally just finished a live stream on there about the Wolves preview. So, yeah, a bit of a tactical view on the weaknesses and strengths of Wolves and what Manchester United need to be careful of. But yeah, obviously, we're looking at interested into this player, this Todibo. So I'm looking forward to talking about him.
All right, before we go into all that, because tonight, just for everyone who's watching now, we're going to talk about the centre-back situation, because a few new players been popped up on the radar, apparently being scouted. Talking about Martinez, not Martinez, but the one from Villa, the goalkeeper. He's being pursued. And we're going to go into the FA Cup rail strikes. Just a little update about that. Unbelievable, isn't it? The day the two clubs from Manchester travelling down, there's a rail strike to London. And Varane ready to return. Little team news there. But just going back to this intro, you just done a preview about Wolves. I just want to ask you, Dan, because a few weeks ago, you would have been a lot more confident, I'm sure, of top four. Two questions. What's gone wrong and how do we resolve it?
For me, I feel like United aren't attacking enough, and I feel like we're not using our creative players enough at the same time. And I feel like that the reason everyone blames David De Gea for the loss against West Ham in our most recent game was because that even though De Gea should be saving that, and it was a complete and horrendous error by De Gea, fans seem to bypass that the attackers and didn't score, and it was all on De Gea's fault. But for me, I feel like it seems that the players seem to be kind of unmotivated. They're actually physically exhausted at this point now. And the fact that Erik ten Hag has given them a 2 or 3 day break, and I think they were back in training today. So now that they're back and rest, feel like that this will, what's gone wrong is that the players are just physically exhausted. They've had to play a lot of games, and they're just tired.
Okay, so big up my little bro. How you doing, Kende? You met Dan before. Just ask Dan what's gone wrong over the last few weeks and how do we fix it. He said to me that the players are exhausted, they're unmotivated maybe, and the attackers, we're not finishing our chances. And the goalkeeper's getting a lot more stick when really we should be focused on the people not finishing their chances. What do you think's gone wrong? What's gone wrong, and how do we fix it, bro?
I think it's a combination of things. I think we've had a lot of games, over a quick succession. A lot of big games, Europa League that took its toll, and everything else like that. I was actually thinking about this the other day. I just think we struggle to score goals at the moment. Like, if Rashford's not on the form, who's scoring our goals? And who's assisting them at the moment? No one's really playing well in those attacking areas. I don't think it's anything to do with a lack of motivation or anything. I thought a couple of weeks ago we had top four secured, but evidently now, what's happening with Liverpool, they're on hot form and all that. We have to really get those next three wins and cement that top four place. So it's panic mode. We can't afford to be complacent at the moment. Just get the top four done. Once we've got that, we just look forward to the FA Cup final.
Comment here from Simon Davis. How you doing, Simon? He says it's the mindset. Who's he talking about, the manager or the players there? What do you reckon, guys?
Both.
I presume it means the players, but same with Erik ten Hag as well. I think his mindset. I think like something has changed with not just the players, with Erik ten Hag as well. Something does seem to kind of there's a fork in the road, and we've kind of gone down the wrong path. I feel like, right, instead of Manchester United actually progressing and moving on with our advantage we had on Liverpool and Spurs. We've allowed the likes of Liverpool to catch up. We've allowed Newcastle to overtake us in for that third spot. So United are now literally sandwiched in between these two teams, and every single game from now until the end of the season is a must-win.
And what's a must-win as well for me is getting these mugs. We got merchandise now at the Man United Agenda. We're selling mugs. You can get the Man United Agenda logo on it, and on the other side, you can pick a player of your choice. I've got Harry Maguire. He might not be in the club next season. We'll talk about that later, but just go through a few comments. Big up to Jeff. He's saying big up to everyone in the channel. Big up to Ed Mayhem. You met my brother at the weekend. Ed came all the way down from Birmingham, played in midfield for us. Unfortunately, we lost 3-2, last-minute goal against Cop Talk TV. That was really unfortunate. But Ed, hope you're doing well, bro. Jeff saying always having too much fun with each other. Glenn is in the house as well. Just talk about you, merchandise man. Hope you're doing well. And so Emma's in the house as well. She said hi, everyone. Big up to everybody. Mindset, says Simon Davis. Now that's a really good point. I do believe a lot of this is mental, because with this comes pressure now. We got pressure games coming up where we have to win. If we drop points now, we're in trouble. A couple more comments here. Emma's saying it's been a bit of everything, but I think we've been figured out. Quote, as we have been doing a lot of the same stuff. So is that possible that all the data analysis and all that, for that the teams are sort of coming up against us and knowing how to neutralize us, for example? I'll give you a shout. I'd say playing out from the back, I think we're having a difficulty with. That's clear and evident. And I think teams maybe would exploit in that. Anything else they might have been exploiting with Man United right now?
For me, I feel like that the oppositions know that Manchester United struggle to actually do stuff with our possession. I feel like United's high possession stat is always really easy to obtain with Manchester United, but it seems that United and the players are actually struggling to actually use this possession and use it attackingly. So I feel like the opposition now knows that as long as they have 1, 2 or 3 players marking the players, then the player that's currently on the ball actually doesn't know who to pass to, and either pass it back to either the defenders, or they try and take a crazy 40-yard shot and it just goes straight to the goalkeeper or goes completely off target. So for me, I feel like that's kind of how we've been figured out almost, and that's why we seem that, yes, we're having high possession stats, but it's actually using that possession is what United are struggling with.
That's a good point about the possession as well, yeah, because I didn't realise how high our possession is at the moment. So almost like Van Gaal, when Louis Van Gaal came, isn't that Zico? When Louis Van Gaal came, he changed it. So we had a lot of possession, but we didn't have that clinical cutting edge maybe back then.
No,
Can you see any resemblance?
No, I don't not going to make that comparison just because they're both Dutch coaches. I'm not going to say.
But what do you think?
Back in the day with the Ajax team, but I think when he had United, there wasn't no cutting edge. It was a lot of possession, but it was really boring. I was like falling asleep all the time. You know? But I didn't know so much about that possession stat either. I didn't really realize it, but I just think it's not something that I picked up on. But what I do pick up on is just that we struggle to score goals. Yeah. And if Anthony's not delivering, or Sancho's not delivering, whoever, or Rashford's not playing well on the left, no one else is really finishing. So I'm thinking we really struggle, like where are the goals coming from? And Casemiro's had a huge drop in form. At the start of the season, he looked tense, but now it's like I think teams know they could get at him or something. Like everyone's nicknaming him Pudding and all this.
That comes from our channel.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is it they know he's not got the legs? Are they figuring our players out? We had this before when you remember when someone mentioned about Fred and what they do to the player. Yeah,
that was the ex-Watford player. Yeah,
get on them quickly. So some teams identify weak players in the team.
Just a few comments here. Simon saying the quality is there, but the life experience is essential. These players flew when Erik ten Hag first came in. This group of players haven't experienced this pressure. Erik ten Hag has a solid mind. He will sort it out. So there's a lot of positivity there from Simon. Bart saying here, Ten Hag needs another 5 players who go straight into the first 11 for United to play his style. They really need a goalkeeper on top of the 5 as well. big up to Solo. He's saying here we need more goal contributions around the park, so more goal scorers. Jeff saying we are creating 4 to 6 true chances a game. That's a good shot. I do agree with that. We were finishing our chances. If we were finishing our chances, we wouldn't be having any of these conversations right now. Emma saying here Martinez is also a big miss for us centre back. Typically, he would get us to start the attack because he was so good on the ball. Totally agree. We're going to talk about centre back position because obviously we tried to highlight what the issue is. We were saying we're not finishing our chances, but at the moment we've got a left back playing centre back and a B team. I say B team, and I'm not joking because for the last few years Lindelof has been B man. You know, the B man, the go to if someone gets injured. He's not been a starter. So we've got a non-starter for the last few years and a left back playing. Are we concerned that there's with the centre back position? Do we need cover? Well, today let's just talk about this. Jean Clair-Todibo. Now I know about this guy because he was at Barcelona at one point. Young French defender. He's still only 21 years old, and he's 6'3" and he's a baller. Very good on the ball. Don't know about his physicality. I don't know if he's, from what I've seen, that's the only issue I might have with him. But good on the ball. He's playing for Nice right now and getting rave reviews. And apparently Newcastle, Liverpool and United have been scouting him recently. Now, yesterday, if you watch the show, we're talking about the guy Kim from Napoli. So centre-backs is a big talking point right now because we either need backup for Varane and Martinez, if you believe those two will take us forward next season, or someone to replace Varane or Martinez. That's someone who's that good. So what do you know, guys, about Jean Clair-Todibo? He plays for Nice right now. They're talking about £45 million. Dan, I'll start with you because you've been doing a little bit of homework. Rushed.
So with Todibo, I feel like that he's one of them players that is very under the radar. I mean, he doesn't really get in the French team because of how many quality French centre-halves the French national team actually has. But with him being only 23 years old, he does have a lot of promise still. And it does seem that his biggest strengths are his passing ability, his tackling, and his concentration. So I feel like that them key 3 strengths would really suit him in an Erik ten Hag system and the Premier League. So I do feel like him only being 23 as well, it would bring a bit of youth to our defenders, because it seems that every single United defender is over the age of 26.
Yeah.
So I would say that it would be good to see from Todibo. He is the main starter for Nice, and he is currently on a wage of just over €20,000 a week, and his deal expires in June 2027. So he probably has recently only just signed a new contract. But with him playing just over 3,000 minutes for Nice this season, he has also received, from what this says, is 4 yellow cards and 2 red cards. So maybe he's got a bit more maturing to go, but for the physicality of him, he seems to be fully developed, and having that early concentration trait would be very impactful, let's say, and very useful with Erik ten Hag wanting to play out from the back.
Most certainly. Well done, bro. That's really good talk. Simon Davis saying, I agree, Dan. Well said as well. Now, Kahinda, I know you don't really know much about this guy, do you? But he's a lightweight, he's a youngster, 21 years old. And what do you think about the age value of age when we're buying defenders now? Because if we're going to be successful in the next 3-4 years, we've got players who are 29, 30, 31, first team players. They're going to be very old. They're not going to get better, are they? So do you really think if we're buying a defender, we have to buy someone young? And do you also believe that Varane and Martinez can be trusted to go through the whole through next season as the number one?
If I'm buying a centre back now, because we need impact players, I'm looking at like mid-20s. That's what I'm looking at.
Why mid-20s? What's the significance?
Because I think when we need to add to this squad right now is players that are not necessarily going to be straight in the first team. They have to, but definitely someone who's going to push the guy out. So someone who's going to come in and push Casemiro like Declan Rice. Someone who can come in and push Varane. It can't just be anybody because Varane's world class. But is he going to play like loads of games next season with his injury record? I doubt it. So you need someone that's going to come in that's just as good. That's what we need to be looking at.
I kind of see your point there, pal, where you're saying like we need to get these mid-20 players that are also kind of fully matured as well, who know that like they're not like coming as a risk as a young player. They kind of already like made themselves as a yes. I see your point with that. I kind of agree with that actually. Like kind of like Sabitzer if we brought him in instead of like buying a young midfielder in the summer.
Exactly. And bro, I was watching a bit of the show last night, you talking about Kim and whatever, but I just think nowadays it's really hard to judge a centre back, like to really judge how well that they're going to do in the Premiership. You just don't know. Like with Ruben Diaz, who had heard of him? Who had really seen him for what you looked outstanding? But he's come into City's system and he looks outstanding for City. Same with Van Dijk, who was really talking about him at Southampton. Did he look that outstanding? Did he look like he was going to be the player he was at Liverpool? So I think with centre backs, it's all about partnership, who you pair them with. Would Vidic have looked good with a slow centre back like Maguire? No, but with Rio, who had a bit of pace and flashiness, he looked good with him. So this guy Kim, you might look at his highlights and the attributes and say, oh, he doesn't look that good. But playing next to Martinez, he could be outstanding. So it's very hard to judge. But he's at a good age. He's playing at a very good level. Any defender that's been playing in Italy and doing well, I would have to rate, because I still think Italian football is the best for defenders and the way that they work their systems and how they mold their defenders and everything else. And I was listening to Tomori and he was saying how much he's improved, like thinking wise as a defender since he's been playing in Italy.
Right. Okay, just add to that. Yeah, just Tomori, you played for Chelsea now at Milan. I was sort of not disrespecting him, but I was sort of saying he didn't have the best game yesterday. But what are you saying? Because I've heard Kieran Trippier go to Atletico and say the difference about defending abroad. What's Tomori saying about that then?
Not too much detail, but it's just he was just saying more about how much he's improved, like thinking wise as a defender, his anticipation and all that. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like in the Premiership, it was just all instinct, but it's like he feels more. It's like it's more natural, and playing in Italy is helped his game a lot progress, and I think it would, of course.
Yeah.
So they their thing is about defending. That's their.
So just throwing them out. I mean, obviously we're always talking about potential signings. Now we looked at this guy today, Todibo. What we talked about Kim yesterday. We talked about the Monaco youngster as well. He's not young. He's about 24, 25 now as a player coming in. And there's others as well around Europe that could be interesting. What do you guys? I'm asking you, Dan and Kehinde. Is there a player out there that you identify and say, this guy's really good? Why aren't we looking out for this guy? Or is there someone in the Premiership, for example, like the guy from Palace, who's got a couple of caps for England? Or the guy, his partner, Anderson. I thought he's brilliant. He plays the ball out really well. Is there anyone in the Premiership or English football or Scottish football local to us that you identify as someone who could be a good signing for us? Let me know, guys. What do you guys think?
I would say that we should, for defenders especially, there's not too many defenders in the Premier League that catch my eye, that I see as a world class like potential type defender. So I feel like that exploring European centre halves is the better route to go down. And I like what's your name? Sorry, pal, at the bottom. What's your name?
Zico.
Zico. Yeah, Zico said about how like the Italian football is known for like breeding these incredible centre halves. I mean, think of like Cannavaro, Maldini. I mean, and more recent times, obviously Tomori. We've seen like Chris Smalling completely revive his career at Roma. So like the Italian league always seems to develop really good centre halves, and I honestly think Kim Min-jae or maybe what's he called now? He plays for Inter Milan. I saw. Is it Bastoni? I think it's Bastoni.
Left-footed, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Left-footed. Yeah. I feel like that they're the correct type of defenders that we should be going for. And yeah, Bastoni. I feel like that he with him being footed as well. Martinez is our only left-footed centre half. So with because like recently we've brought back Shaw to centre half because we don't have another left-footed sided defender. So I feel like getting a player like Bastoni would be very important to Manchester United. But he'd be either Bastoni or Kim Min-jae would be the defenders that I'd go for.
What about Bart saying here, on Monday, United should look at Botman from Newcastle, who's come and done really well. I thought he's been brilliant. And go for Gavido, the guy from Croatia, who's currently playing in Germany, isn't he?
Yeah.
What do you know about these guys? Anyone?
Yeah,
I've heard of both of them. I mean, Botman we can't get because Newcastle not going to sell him now. The Gavido, this is what I'm saying. It's another one. It's like you just don't know how well he'll do. People have talked about Skriniar for Inter a long time.
Yeah,
like I watch him. He doesn't look like the attributes that I would like, but he could do really well. So you just don't know. It's all about what Ten Hag's thinking. If Ten Hag is thinking Martinez is going to be my number one centre back, I need to have someone to pair him with permanently. Then he's got to get a defender who can complement Martinez's playing style. That's all it is.
I want to go through some comments quickly before we wind up this centre-back issue. Colin here saying, big up, guys. Sorry, couldn't be in the show. I'm out with our football team. End of season, Mill. Have a great show. As you know, with him, he came out and got sent off in his crucial game, last game of the season. So go and enjoy your meal. Hope they don't poison you, Colin, for your mistakes. So Emma's saying here, being possession-based is going to make life easier for our defensive players. That's a good point. I do agree with that. Tarbo saying, who's the best midfielder we can get on a free end of the season?
Tillemans.
All right. Saying Diaz's potential was known in football circles. United bought Lindelof instead of him in Mourinho's second season. Also saying here, talk about Liverpool. Bart saying Gravenberch, he was at Ten Hag's linchpin, young player, went to Bayern Munich, can't get a game. It was good to see you mention the word burnout. United's been there. Okay, all right. He's there to rock us and mock us. Simon's saying here, it's how players adapt. That's it. They can. Certain managers have the ability to bring out the best in people. Most certainly. I want you to help me out on this one, Dan, because Emma's ripping me for mispronouncing the name of John Clair-Todibo.
Todibo, I think he's called.
Todibo. There you go, Emma. Todibo. I hope that's keeping sweet now. Bart saying, we're talking about Botman, of course, and Gavio. We need a horrible, imposing centre half that's calm on the ball, says Simon. Bastoni and Gavio are both very, very expensive. United can get Shota Becker if you want a left-sided centre back as well. Wow, so much information here. Jim Mack, how you doing? I really want to see United start to ramp up on the youth promotion. We can talk about that later, about youth as well. There's the figures they're talking about for defenders, which is a lot of money these days. Just going to move on now to the other issues we're discussing. Martinez, in the papers today, talking about goalkeeper situation. You mentioned about the mistakes. You defended him earlier, Dan, De Gea making mistakes and blamed the forwards for not finishing their chances. But what do you think of Martinez? He was at Arsenal. They didn't want him. He's left, gone to Villa, established himself. He's done brilliantly in Copa America at penalties against Colombia, showed he's got character, and he also won the World Cup recently as well. And playing for Villa, he looks like a top keeper. I don't know, is he 30 years old, around that age? Two questions for you. Is he one of the top keepers in the Premiership? And is he worth looking out for?
For me, I say no, because I feel like that despite him being very good at penalty saves and very good when it comes to the motivation and keeping himself focused throughout a game, I honestly think that he's actually a very bang average keeper. I mean, United, when they played Villa a few seasons ago, when Bruno hit that shot from about 30 yards and he caught it and it rolled through his arms. Obviously that's only one mistake, but I don't watch Villa week in and week out, but I do have a Villa fan who's a mate of mine, and he does say that even though he loves Martinez being a complete shithouse, he frustrates him because his saving ability isn't the best. And this is where I've talked about to many fans, to United fans, that so many people go on about David De Gea's poor distribution, but David De Gea's saving ability is very good. Now, obviously, you might want to forget the last game against West Ham because that was a complete blunder. But recently, I don't think David De Gea made like more than 5 errors that are that bad, in my opinion. And I feel like that it also depends on your defence as well, because even though David De Gea should have saved that shot from Benrahma at the West Ham game, I honestly feel like either Lindelof or Shaw should be cutting down Benrahma and not letting him get that shot off in the first place. So for me, I feel like it's also the defence in front of the goalkeeper. And with Martinez, I feel like that even though he's very good in the distribution, he's very good at penalty saves and stuff, I feel like that his actually one-on-one defending is terrible. And as we know, David De Gea is one of the best in the world with that. So that's where I feel like that all these fans that want a possession-based goalkeeper, but then that might risk you of actually getting a keeper that actually doesn't save that many shots. So it's kind of a catch-22 where you actually want to get that perfect goalkeeper that's a very good shot stopper and very good at distribution at the same time. But you can't have it both ways, in my opinion.
Eddie Football Waffle, go and check out his channel. How you doing, Eddie? Say asking Jeff what keepers he likes. Who do you like, Eddie? Bart saying here, there's a list of names here. I'm not going to read them out after being butchering the French players' names.
Just read them out for you.
Yeah, go on.
So you've got Castells, who I believe is at, I think it's at Wolfsburg in Germany. Van der Voort, it seems. I'm not really too sure about him. You've got
in the Belgian club, yeah.
You've got Bill Joke, it seems, Passive and Courtois. I mean, Courtois plays for Real Madrid, and he's also kind of at the same area at his career with David De Gea, where they seem to be reaching the end of their careers. And now Courtois, for me, is probably the best keeper in world football. But will Real Madrid let him go? I don't think so.
Zico, what do you think about Martinez? I mean, you watch the Premiership, you've watched the World Cup. I mean, is he a top goalkeeper in the Prem? Is he better than De Gea? I mean, are we right to be looking at him, for example?
I think he's got like maybe a strong mentality, like, you know, especially with his penalty saving and all that, and that last-ditch save he made from Rouhani, you know, that could have cost the game. He won the game for them. He was excellent. So he's had a good World Cup with Argentina, a great Copa America of Argentina. In the Premiership, he's probably been bang average, because if Arsenal didn't keep him on, there's a reason for that. You know, I was watching Pickford the other day for Everton. He was making some great saves, and I was thinking, yeah, he's a good keeper, but if he was really as great, he's England's number one, he'd be playing for a top 4 club.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, I just don't know. There's nothing that really stands out for me. Everyone's getting sick of him, but I still think he's one of the top 5 keepers in Premiership, maybe top 10 in the world still, because he pulls off some saves that no one else would be able to make. Some of his saves, shot stopping is outstanding, but he does have weaknesses in his game. Martinez, like, he might look like a steady Eddie, but I don't know if he'll really make those crunch saves that to win us a game, you know, like Courtois did in the Champions League final last season. I just want to touch on one thing. We had a really good backup in Sergio Romero. Do you remember him?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I thought he was excellent. Every time he stepped in, he was composed. He didn't make any mistakes. And the way we treated him, I don't know. I don't think we should have got rid of him, because I didn't see him ever make any mistake for us. He never let us down.
I just want to go to comments.
He was the perfect number 2, Romero. He was absolutely brilliant when we needed him.
We talked about this guy before, the Croatian keeper who plays for Dynamo Zagreb. He's been there a long time. Surprised he hasn't been snapped up, but Emma likes the look of him. Diego Costa, this is from Jeff. He was asked by Eddie, likes Diego Costa from Porto. Jason Still, Costa, if we are replacing De Gea straight away, and Still, if they won't come to competition as a backup. What do you guys think of Onana, who used to play for Ajax, got suspended for some sort of drug issue, was banned for a year. He's come back now. He's playing for Inter Milan in the semi-final of the Champions League. He's got good with his feet as well. A bit of an eccentric kind of keeper. I like him. What do you guys think of Onana? Is he someone you'd look at?
I've never really considered Onana. I mean, I can imagine Old Trafford singing "Onana," watching it. Like, I feel like that would.
Onana.
Yeah, all that. But for me, Onana is a decent goalkeeper. But we're looking at, is it the right goalkeeper Man United need? For me, if you was to ask me two goalkeepers that Man United should get, if we were to break the bank for, I would honestly say either Gregor Kobel, who's Dortmund's main goalkeeper, a very good physical goalkeeper who comes off his line, very good with distribution. But the fact is that he's not very good with his feet. But honestly, Amanda, when I tell you this, he can literally throw from his hand and throw the ball to the halfway line, and it lands perfectly to the line. To the striker's feet. He's brilliant. He's got a cannon for an arm. And then I'd have to say AC Milan's goalkeeper, Mike Mignan. I feel like he's a very good goalkeeper as well. Last night he didn't show the best performance, but again, I just feel like that he's one of them goalkeepers that's absolutely brilliant in my opinion.
We got a goalkeeper at the club already. Kola is good. I suspect we need to bulk up, says Bart, and come out for crosses and that sort of thing. Lastly, he should ideally go on loan to a championship club to toughen up. But I appreciate your comments. You come with some real wise man's quotes there. Jim Mack saying De Gea is top, same as Maguire. But once they become a meme, it's hard to come back from that. Jim, same page, bruv. Same page. We're on the same page there. And Onana's a great keeper, but a head case, says Jeff. And don't know Cabal, but a howler in the Bayern Munich game. That's your Dortmund keeper. And big up to Nath. He says, Eddie for Warful. How you doing, man? Welcome to the channel. All right, so Martinez, Zico, just lastly, is it a yay or nay for Martinez? Yay. And that's for me as well. I'm not interested in that goalkeeper. I think the Southampton keeper is pretty good as well. That's someone I would look at. And the Brentford keeper and the Brighton keeper, maybe. I mean, if Leeds get relegated, yeah. Sorry, quickly, Jean Clair. I'm not going to pronounce his surname. He started at Toulouse, went to Barcelona for a couple of years, went on loan to Schalke and Benfica, and then went to Nice. And Nice signed him. He's 21 years old. We've been looking out for him. That's to Man United. Hope you're doing well.
He's 23, Amanda. He's 23.
All right. I thought he was 21. Okay, fair enough. Quick news, guys. FA Cup. Imagine this. Now, this is what I think is crazy out here. FA Cup final, Manchester United versus Man City. They have to travel down, 5-hour drive sometimes, or a big train ticket to get down to Wembley for the day. Should the FA Cup be held up north or in Manchester somewhere or somewhere local? It's a long way to go for Manchester fans, isn't it? But guess what? We heard a few weeks ago, there's a rail strike the day of the FA Cup final from Manchester to London, of all places. So now the FA apparently are going to sort of look at getting some coaches for the fans to get down. Because it's going to be mayhem, isn't it? I mean, if anyone living up north traveling down, oh man, imagine the traffic for one. But yeah, British Rail, sort it out, man. This is a major final. We need to sort of get this done. Me and Zico Kahinde, we live quite close to Wembley, but we don't actually go to games. And if there was a bus strike, we could probably walk there. Is that close, But what do you think about this? It's a bit bizarre, isn't it? A rail strike on a Saturday. On the day of the cup final, and that route as well. Do you think this is to get more impact from British Rail, maybe to sort of knowing that they could really hurt the football fans and everyone will be screwing about it, upset about it?
Well, for me, I feel like this only really affects Manchester United fans because City fans probably can't afford a train ticket. So that's the only thing that. But anyway, I do think it is a bit bizarre, but it does seem that it's actually the Manchester train station in Piccadilly where it seems to be where it's cut off. So I feel like if you maybe travel more the Midlands, if you make like probably about a half an hour drive or something and go near Birmingham area, you can probably get a train down from London from there. So maybe it's not unless from what I've read that it seems to be the Manchester Piccadilly train station is what's causing the strike, not the actual rails is actually fully closed off. But I might have read something different. I'm not too sure. But I do think that it's also we've seen rail strikes for the last few seasons, last few years now, and it seems that now these rail strikes are trying to have their voices heard. So I think that now they're going to do a big game that's going to be impactful. They're going to use their power and stop it to finally get what they want, almost, I think.
Do you agree with that, Zico? I mean, look, if you're smart and you want to get much impact, break up the cup final, two massive sides coming down from Manchester. Do you think that was orchestrated?
Not a better way to say how serious you are. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just saying we don't care. Like, if it was FA Cup final day, we don't care. You know, this is there. If you want to make a statement and want to change, this is the sort of thing you've got to do to get yourself heard. So, yeah.
Damn you. What do you think about this, Zico? With a situation like this, do you think it's wise to have the final, say, at Old Trafford? It's not a neutral ground, but there's always got to be at Wembley. You wouldn't change it then?
Dude, traditional, isn't it? You can't change Wembley. Why would you held anywhere else?
And, I mean, coach tickets, I'm sure it's like 20 quid for a coach. When you see all these fans coming down to London games, it's about 20 quid. They're charging 50 quid for adults to travel to London from Manchester. That's from Man United. Thanks for that, man. We're going to go on to the final subject now, and it's just a bit of news. I know you've done a preview show about Wolves coming up, Dan, but yeah, just you must know about this news that Varane apparently is back and could be in contention this week. I mean, I'll start with you, Zico, because you know all about this, Dan. Varane, I mean, he's had his ups and downs this season with injuries. Are we, with the top four, a bit of a concern? Is that a big boost for him to come in? And would you play him straight away with the urgency that we need to get 9 points to finish top four?
I probably would play him, yeah, because I don't think Shaw and Lindelof have played badly. I know we've lost 2 games on the bounce, but just 2 1-0 defeats, and one of them was a De Gea, blunder. I feel Varane, he just brings a sort of control sort of in the defense. It's like this calming influence, and we always look much better when he's in the team. So I would probably play him if he's available, and if he gets injured, then so be it. But I feel that with the games that we've got coming up, like psychologically, Wolves, they've survived, so I don't think they're going to push for anything. West Ham, they needed to win that game to secure their safety, and the same with Bournemouth, they've pretty much survived as well. So I just think these games that the other teams are not going to be that motivated. I shouldn't think so. So I feel like we should get the points from these teams. But
so you're not sweating it then?
I'm not sweating it. But you know, I still think it's cagey. It's definitely cagey. It's going to be tight. But we should do the business at Old Trafford.
Dan, with the injury record, is it worth risking Varane if he is sort of half fit to play over Lindelof, maybe?
Honestly, for me, I feel like that Varane, if he was to play, I still think Lindelof plays. And I feel like that we might see this over the next few weeks and how Erik ten Hag might change the way we've been playing. And I won't be surprised if Varane and Lindelof do play and Shaw goes back on that left-hand side and for the left back. That's the way that I'd see it happening, because they just said it there. Jim's just said we need Shaw back at left back, because I feel like that our left side, when Malacia, when Dalot's on that left hand side, yes, they're still okay, I guess, but the partnership Shaw and Rashford have developed and built over these last few seasons is a very strong partnership. So I feel like that Varane won't be back for this game against Wolves, but I would not be surprised if you see Varane and Lindelof as the starting centre backs away from from home from Bournemouth.
Yeah, good shout. Jim Max saying here we need Shaw back at left back. I do agree. I would rather see him there. He gives us so much. He's our best left back for sure. Bath Time saying here it's a double Juma day. That'll be the 2 brothers. If people don't know, yes, we are brothers, 10 years apart. Me and Kahinde. And which one's giving away a penalty tonight? He's saying. Do you want to just what's Bath Time talking about there, Kahinde?
Oh god. You know, the guy con the ref, man. It was never.
What? No one knows what you're talking about. What are you talking about here?
Forget it. Let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's quickly. Lucky Errol's not here because I will be grilling him about his penalty. By the way, Zico, Kahinde, there's some video footage of Errol giving away the penalty on Instagram. I'll send it to you later. Yeah. There's about a minute worth of action from the game. Wow.
You always say stand up when someone's in the area.
You hear people saying stand up. Yeah. If someone's doing step overs and gets in the box, first things first, stay in your feet. And if they
Yeah.
get past you, don't flick it out your leg because they will roll over it.
Exactly.
Yeah, standard stuff. Yeah, I'll see you a bit later, bath time. We do the show later, recording a lovely show with a great guest. DN Vlogs is saying EMI Martinez wants to leave Villa. That's the goalkeeper. Apparently, would you take him or someone younger? DN Vlogs, we discussed that, and I think it was unanimous. We're not really interested in him. That's been answered for bath time where he plays. Ed ignores the Bart Scouts channel. It's broken again. He's on the wind up. Okay, what are you up to? Yeah, quick one before we shut up. Diallo will be available for the cup final, I heard today. We just touched that before I go through the comments. DM Vlog is saying I would not start Varane unless we are losing at half time. So he doesn't want to risk him. We just a few bit information there. The ref was Serge Knight hater, says bath time. My guys looks like Andrew Tate. Is that you, Kahinde? Man, you got Uncle Phil, Serge Knight, and now Andrew Tate. Not Andy Tate, Andrew Tate. We know who he is, don't we? And Bart saying here, personally, I feel Maguire would suit a club like Newcastle, so offering him and McTominay for combined 65 million is a good deal. Diallo, he scored 13 goals in 39 games for Southampton. For Sunderland, sorry. He's done really well, scored some beauties. Even the other day at the weekend, he scored a nice little finish, you know. Is he in contention? Obviously, he'll be back for the cup final, but is he in contention for next year? Would you be considering bringing him in? Because there's a question asked earlier. This is our last topic, guys. Be punchy. There's a question asked earlier about we need to incorporate youngsters because we were talking about transfers and that. Someone in the comments, I don't know who it was, can't remember now, but someone said we need to incorporate youngsters. So who's ahead of the youngsters pecking line? Is it Garnacho? What do you think about Diallo? Is that great experience he's had this year? Ghana had great experience and not in the Forest Championship, but he couldn't get a look in. Could start with you, Kahinde, to finish off with Dan. Diallo, what do you like about him? Can he fit in?
I think he definitely can fit in. I think like he's a real prospect, and the way that they talked about him at Atalanta in Italy, there's like really like he's a prodigy, man. He's really, and the thing is, I watch him. He doesn't have that kind of blistering pace, but he's very clever, like with his touch and his 1-2 plays, and he's dangerous. And I think he will give a different option to Anthony, who's, you know, Anthony likes to do things fast, but he's a bit more of a composed player than Anthony is, and he'll probably maybe more creative. So I think if he could give Anthony good competition on the right, because at the moment Pellèstri's not getting the look in to give Anthony competition on the right. It looks like we're going to try to sell Pellèstri. I would bring Diallo in because he's another left-footed inverted winger, and he'll give Anthony good competition.
Okay, he's been playing a lot central as well, hasn't he, for Southampton?
Yeah.
There's 3 comments I'm going to read up before I lead on to you, Dan, and maybe you can use some of these comments when we discuss it. So Diallo is better than Anthony and Sancho, says from Man United. I feel Diallo needs to be in the team next season. Otherwise, why do they pay 37 million and not using this DN Vlogs? Barthan's got concerned. He said he only able to last 65 minutes at Sunderland. It's a massive worry for him. And he's saying he's got the talent, but maybe needs another year to finish his physical development. And finally, Bart saying Diallo, Pellèstri, Garnacho, Rashford, Elanga, and Anthony. Surely a couple should be sold. Your thoughts then on Diallo and the season he's had, and what do you expect, Dan, to happen?
For me, I feel like with Amad Diallo, he needs another year, or I'd say 6 months. But for me, I only think that with this, so if Sunderland get promoted to the Premier League, I say extend Amad Diallo's loan for 6 months and then see where he's at in January and then maybe bring him back. That's how I would do it if Sunderland do get promoted. If Sunderland don't win the playoffs, then I would look at bringing him back regardless for being a backup right winger, because Anthony, first of all, being our own left-footed attacker is a massive issue in my opinion. And for me, Amad Diallo and Anthony are 2 different players. Anthony kind of reminds me of a more Mo Salah type player. He tries and beats you one-on-one. He tries and cuts in on that left-hand side, and he just tries and beats you man-to-man. With Amad Diallo, he kind of reminds me more like of a Mahrez type for Man City, where he's very technical, he's very good with his left foot, but he's also a high threat. And obviously, I do think he's got a lot of development still to go. But I honestly think with the likes of Amad Diallo and Garnacho available as these two prospect wingers for both sides of our wingers, I feel like they could come on and actually develop and build a very good partnership. So for me, I would honestly sell Alanga because I feel like that it's nothing. I've got nothing against Alanga. I think he's a very good player. I just feel like his time at United has just been all over the place. He was brought in under Ralph Rangnick, didn't get the development he needed, and was just forced to play games and just didn't get the development that he needed. So I feel like he just needs to go off to have a new fresh start and go somewhere else. I would give Palestra a loan opportunity because I do feel like Palestra is a very decent winger when we've seen him play. So I do feel like having that season like Amad Diallo, a full season out on loan, would do him good. And honestly, I would loan out Jadon Sancho as well. Some people say sell Jadon Sancho, and I won't be opposed to it, but I do feel like Sancho's maybe got another year in him, and I don't think that under Erik ten Hag that's going to happen. So I'd say that maybe loan him out to a different country, a much more slower league, and maybe let him develop that way. But for me, I don't want to see Jadon Sancho in a United shirt next season. So I'd either like to see him on loan, try and develop himself and try and resurrect his career, or I wouldn't mind seeing him be sold because I do feel like you could still probably get about 40 million for Jadon Sancho. And if the Glazers don't sell the club in time before the transfer window opens, I feel like selling players is going to be key this summer and try to sell that deadwood. So getting a 40 million for Jadon Sancho would probably help us bring in a Kim Min-jae, maybe an Enzo Lee Fee, maybe brings money towards Harry Kane, for example, or Victor Osimhen. So I feel like that a player like Sancho might help us with the transfer budget.
Last point, Kahinde, just want to ask you, because you're involved with academy youngsters from clubs that drop out of clubs and trying to get them back into football with your company that you work for, and training and coaching these guys, and it's not just coaching, but you're like a mentor to these guys as well, aren't you? Getting them back. So you've got a great affiliation with young players, and you even play. I mean, the guy you played five-a-side with the other day is someone who used to be at Chelsea's book until he was 22 years old. And now he's sort of in the wilderness, not getting much football. Do you think we should be encouraged by what happened with Diallo getting good? Is that a good loan move? Is that something that's been thought of, that sort of process? And
yeah, definitely. I mean, because where was he at before? Rangers. He had a season at Rangers. He did okay there, but everyone says if you want introduction to English football, the Championship is the best place to go because it's rough, rugged, it's physical. And he's been excelling there, so I think it's very good for his development. He is quite slight physically, but he's got the skills and the guile and the brain. I think he's a very intelligent player. So I think it was definitely a good loan for him. But we've seen what happened with Ghana. Ghana had a great loan at Nottingham Forest. I was really hoping that he was going to come back and be in Ten Hag's system, and he didn't get given a chance, and he just got sold. And I really hope that doesn't happen to Diallo. I just think Ten Hag's got agendas about his wide players. And I said it before that he's probably looking to move Palestri on because why does he never give him any game time? Palestri's coming on, he's doing bits. He's burning mans, he's getting down the wing. He's putting good crosses in. Why is he not getting games? Because I think Ten Hag wants to move him on. He's just thinking, all right, I've got Anthony on that right side. Palestri's not going to get in ahead of Anthony. And he's, to create competition for Anthony, Ahmad's probably a good person. And I think on the left, I think it's good to have Sancho and Garnacho because they're two different players. Garnacho is going to be direct, pace, run straight at you, whereas Sancho is going to be the creative one and, try and look for holes and, try and look for that killer ball.
How much talent is there out there at this sort of level with dropouts from academies and everything else? Because if you're playing at Chelsea and then suddenly you're having to play sort of non-league football, I mean, you lose your desire. I mean, you need some counselling, obviously, because you've been playing such a huge drop, isn't it? I mean, what sort of help do these young players need to sort of keep motivated and keep going?
I just think it's just about being in the right club and the right time and having the right person for you. Because I feel like, you know, some of these players, if they could just, you get easy discouraged at a young age, and you've got to have the right person that's supporting you and pushing you in the right direction. Obviously, it's all to do with their mental attitude as well. You know, you look at a guy like Ravel Morrison, best talent I've seen at United in the last 20 odd years, but something's obviously wrong there with maybe his discipline or whatever. But you know, if Ferguson can get the best out of him, I don't think anyone could. It's something to do with him. So, but again, it's these young players need to be encouraged and given a chance. If you just give them that opportunity, give them a chance, keep encouraging them, they'll come good. But if you're just leaving them out to dry, you know, they're going to get demotivated because they need to be put on the platform for them to prove themselves. If they're not given that opportunity, then it's easy to just lose your motivation.
Yeah, totally agree. Couple last comments before we shut down. Rebel saying here, hey lads, good work. Rumours are that we will have a statement from Qatar in the Financial Times regarding the takeovers very soon. Sancho should be played next year. You have a full pre-season, and most importantly, we will have a figurehead centre forward for him. That's from Bart. DM Vlog saying, I disagree with why not give him a season in the team when you can bring a Nacho from the academy and he turns out to be great. He's been at the club for nearly 3 years. Talk about Ahmad. Let's sell Elanga, Maguire, and Martial in a triple swoop, says DM Vlogs. Wasn't Ahmad and Oli signing with Cavani and Palestri? Is that right, Zeke? You nodded?
Yeah, we did hit Sancho that season, and Oli tried to make up for it by getting Palestri and Ahmad.
Okay. Jim Mack saying, let Sancho go as long as we don't buy him back from Juve for 200 million. 75 million player and loan him out and just sell him and get someone else Eric Ten Hag wants. What about Sancho? Would love kudos at United, Ghanaian ace. Didn't Amondi see Sancho at Watford youth team a lot? Didn't see him play, but the Harefield Academy up near us, I got reports from people. They were raving about him from 14, 15 years old before he went to City. I never saw him at that age, but he was a huge talent, apparently. Rebel saying the problem with sales, though, is in a numbskull contracts. Is that numbskull? Why do you always use the stupid words? This is Irish man talking. Numbskull contracts, whatever that means. We put people on are going to affect achievable market value. Rebel, you make me laugh. I'd give Sancho another season, says MUFC. Man United to improve. He's still young, hasn't played at top level in the Premier League for that long. That's so reactionary with Sancho. Why can't these players get some patience? I would give him 3 seasons. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And a few about Palestri and team. We're going to wrap it up now, guys. Make sure you tune in, though. Tomorrow, we're doing a preview show. Dan, give us a shout out, man. Where can we find you? Boost up your channel. Please subscribe, guys, and write this down. Put a link in the description or something. But write this down. Go and tune in to Dan and his channel because we're all one big community here. And go subscribe for us, please, if you don't mind. Over to you, Dan.
Yeah, my channel's called Red Devils TV. I do daily videos on YouTube. I've also started doing TikTok now, just making these quicker, shorter videos, try and build in a bigger and better community. So if anyone who hasn't heard of me, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So hopefully we reach that mark soon because that would be a massive achievement. And I've only been doing YouTube just less than a year. And considering I've reached, I think it's 650 subscribers so far, I would really appreciate if anyone could subscribe and join the family. But yeah, I really appreciate the Man United Agenda giving me this opportunity and promoting my channel.
Just last word, are we getting top 4, Dan, in a word?
Yes.
Kahinde?
Yes.
Okay, and it's a yes from me as well. It's 3 nods. We're still in it. Guys, thanks in the comments. Some wonderful comments coming through. Couldn't read them all out, but we know we usually do. If you want to chat after the show, make sure you put some comments in the YouTube video. And we're doing a show tonight, a really good show tonight, myself and Bath Time. It's going to be a weekly thing, so check that out. Become a member, and you can get first access to it as well. Don't forget the merchandise. We've got the mugs and the other caps and hoodies and all kinds of things. And if you notice, guys, I've got my Man United shirt here and another one up here, home and away. I'm really getting into the merch as well. I've got my Harry Maguire cup, so I'm doing all right as well. So make sure you join me, guys. Anyway, we're signing out. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Kahinde. And we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.